A lot of people at one time said, why don't you stand for Parliament? I said, you've got to be joking. Incidentally, I can't afford it. He said, I've got a wife and 2 kids.
Number 10 was effectively living over the shop, wasn't it?
Oh, sure. Oh, no doubt about that. One got very quickly used to it. I certainly didn't dislike it by any means. No, it's not the greatest house in the world. Chequers, on the other hand, which goes with it, is different. Now that is a place I loved going to. And it was a lovely house and a nice part of the countryside. And it really was fun. I enjoyed it, and a lovely place to entertain, either privately or publicly. Excellent. And a wonderful staff.
It's not all carefree being a good consort, is it? You had to be careful, didn't you?
Yes, consistently careful and observant. Yes, I made mistakes. But I don't think that I did any harm to Margaret by my mistakes. If I did, I didn't realise it. Most of the time when I put up a black, I knew myself that I'd done it, and I used to have to kick myself and say, no, come on, that was just plain silly. And the result is, you're back to being thought a fool. That rather, the longer you keep your mouth shut, the safer you are.
You became, as consort, an absolute expert in planting trees, didn't you?
Oh, I planted lots of trees. I planted one in Castrol's office I think it's in Singapore. I certainly planted one at the new, not so new now, because I go back 15 years, aren't I? Brewery for Guinness in West Africa. And I planted the first of the new 7 oaks at 7 Oaks, because during that hurricane, they all blew down. So they replanted them. And I went down to plant the first one. And I haven't been down there since.
You got any tips for planting trees to absolutely ensure that the thing then grows as opposed to dying?
Well, because Margaret is a great tree planter. She really plants it, you're supposed to put a spadeful on, and she put 8 and then stamp it down, you see, and then said, where's the water? I forget where we were, it's on Bahrain or Abu Dhabi, somewhere like that. We arrived very late at night, and we were being piled into our cars. And Barry whispered in my ear, when you get to the palace, sir, there's no water. I said, you're joking. He said, there's no water. Well, I said, okay, never mind. Oh, we'll be all right, I suppose. And sure enough, there was no water. And I had a bathroom 3 times the size of this, half the size of the Albert Hall. Vast place. All marble floors, marble walls, the lot. And a line of basins, there must have been about 4. And there was no water. I turned them on. A tiny little drip. That's all it was. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to need this probably. So I left the taps running all night. In the morning, I thought that would be all right. There'll be hot water. Not a nary a thing. So I went along to Margaret's bedroom, which, about half the size of the Queen's bedroom, twice the size of the Queen's bedroom in Buckingham Palace. And I said, there's no water. She said, I know there's no water. Well, I said, come to my bathroom and I'll give you a shower. She said, you got a shower there? No, I said, I've got basinfuls of water in my hands. You come in. Him in. I said, stripped off. And I threw the water in the air. That was a non-success. This is no good. Shoves off. Next thing I know is that somebody in the staff had used their brain power and they'd rung up the wife of the resident Foreign Office chap, a junior job, and he had a very charming. He rang up this young woman and said, "Have you got a bathroom with water?" She said, "Of course I've got a bathroom with water." And I said, "Then the Prime Minister would like to, if you're so kind, to borrow your bathroom." "What Prime Minister?" she said. When they'd picked her off the floor with shock, Margaret had a bath down there, so I'd wasted my time.
One of your wettest, dare I say, soggiest rounds of golf was with the then President Bush in Bermuda. Fill me in.
Oh, that was unforgettable. That was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, nobody in their sane senses would have even started. While we were waiting in the pouring rain, waiting for the great man to arrive, one of the Bermudan people who was standing in the crowd said, "My family first came here in 1793, and it's the worst day we've ever known." And it really was. It was awful. It was and I played so badly, it wasn't true.
Well, I think you set off and you did 9 holes. I think you hoped you were off the hook, didn't you?
Yes, I thought with everybody said, "Well, that's fine. No, a large cup of Bovril, a larger cup of brandy would have been fine. Not a bit of it. No, half a Coca-Cola. Right, let's get cracking." And off we go again.
That was the President himself, was it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
How did you meet the great Bill Deeds?
Way back in the Dartford days, they had a meeting of all the members of Parliament and candidates in some house of a local gentry in Dartford, all of them. They were all there. There were only 2. In those days, there were only 2 seats we didn't hold. Bill, of course, in those days was MP for Ashford. And that's when I first met this man, this charming chap. That's when I first met him. So you're talking 51, 52? 50 years.
Half a century of friendship. What do you really like most about him?
What do I like? How does one describe it? I don't think I can define friendship, Carol Jane. Just like his company. You like what he talks about. I don't think I can define friendship. It's something rather special with a man like that. I've got a few others, not many. No man's... You're lucky if you can say, "I've got 6 friends." Friends? I don't mean acquaintances, I mean friends. You're lucky if you've got 6. This is a remarkable man, and I love him dearly. How I don't know how to define him. His lovely, slushy voice, his glorious sense of humour. Well, you know him, don't you?
I know you hugely respect his wisdom.
Oh, mark you, I respect both his opinions and his intellectual ability, which is enormous. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I know you don't love all journalists, but you've got undying admiration for his journalistic career.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He's the greatest, isn't he? I mean, journalism is a funny profession. You're in it, you know. But there are none of your people with whom you are in contact with who could never say that he isn't the greatest journalist in the world today.
Did your father, having been New Zealand born, introduce you to rugby football?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, I can remember my father taking me to Blackheath on the rectory field rugby football, because we live quite close to the rectory field, and to a club called Catford Bridge, which is now disappeared. It is called Bromley. Oh, yes.
You said refereeing was very rewarding, not to mention enjoyable. What particularly appealed? And of course, you've hardly missed an international. I remember your diaries in number 10. International Twickenham was not to be ignored for almost any political engagement, was it?
Well, I enjoyed it. You're asking me what it's about?
Why do you think it's such a great game which gave you so many years of
Well,
pleasure?
I like rugby football and I like the people who play it. But if you're asking me to define what you mean by it, I would say this is an exercise of 40 minutes each way of moral integrity. You make a mistake, don't try and put it right. You're there not only to referee in accordance with the laws of the game, you're there to referee in the spirit of the game, and that is different. Too many of our referees today were concerned with technical perfection, forgetting that the players want to play rugby football. I try to believe that I'm there as the 31st player. They are there to enjoy playing rugby football. Me to make sure that it's played in accordance with the laws. And I add to that, I loathe cheats. I mean, no technical of faults didn't worry me. The cheat did. The chap who played dirty did worry me. And I used to stamp on them hard. Not waiting for the second time, on his neck hard. Do that again and you're off. And I never sent a player off. You had control of the game, not technically, control of the game to play rugby football in accordance with the laws. No cheating, in my case.
Let's talk about the Brighton bomb.
I just got into bed. Just got into bed. And you do funny things. You know, Bob Kingston came in, fully dressed, etc. You've got to get out of here, sir. I remember pyjamas. I said, I'm not going out like this. Well, you'll have to be quick. I said, I'll be as quick as I can. So I over my pyjamas, I put my trousers on. I got hold of a jacket. I think I put a silk scarf around my neck. Put my shoes on. And you do silly things on those occasions. You don't know why, but I picked up a spare pair of shoes. Now, why I did, don't ask me. So we go down the stairs through the dust, etc., get into the car, and we went to the headquarters of the Sussex Constabulary in Brighton, where we were. Chief Constable was there, everybody doing their best. Who's been hurt, etc., etc., waiting to be transported. Croft was there, apparently to Lewis. However, some 10 minutes passed, and in comes a chap who I don't think I can remember his name, but I knew it, recognised him, you see, and I said, "Are you all right? You looked a bit grubby, and like me, all he had was a jacket, etc. But he had no shoes." Oh, I said, "I've got a pair of shoes." Oh, he said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Of course I'm sure. Try them on," you see. Fitted like a glove. He said, "Thank you very much." Off we went. Finish. I said to Margaret when we got back, Well, I said, it's an experience we don't want to repeat, I'm sure. After all, I'd been bombed before. But I said, I've given away a perfectly good pair of shoes, damn nearly brand new. So I suppose I could kiss them goodbye. About 10 days later, I get a box of shoes, my shoes, with a thank you very much, unsigned. So I don't know to this day, who wore my shoes for 24 hours, and back they came. And after all, whatever they got, church shoes, 140 quid a pair, and I wasn't prepared to give them away. It was one of those memorable days. I had to go to, yes, in the public, I think I was in the public duty, to go. And when I started off, there was no car take me to Paddington. No car. Couldn't get a taxi, so I went down on the tube. And I'm getting pretty damn bad-tempered about it, too. Not only that, it was a real Downing Street cock-up. I didn't even have a ticket. So I stood in the queue waiting for the ticket. By the time I got to the train, it was full, absolutely jam-tight with full. And my temper was not good. And I walked up and down the train, and then there was one of those old-fashioned carriages, with a big notice, reserved for Rosemount Psychiatric Hospital, Reading. It was empty, so I got in, settled myself down in a corner seat. In the fullness of time, the train stopped at Reading, and these chaps all piled in. And they had a very obviously nervous male nurse with them, you see. Anyway, he got us all settled down, and he started to count them out. He went like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he got to me, and I'm still damn bad-tempered. He said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm the Prime Minister's husband." 6, 7, 8.